Welcome everybody to the show. Let me just do this real quick. All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Wow, we got a bunch of folks in here already. Welcome everyone. So today I've got a returning guest. This is Ian. He's got a YouTube channel, a pretty nice big YouTube channel, where he comes on and he does a bunch of guitar lessons. And what I really like about Ian's lessons is he kind of frames it in a nice way. So whether you're a beginner or you're an intermediate player or you've been playing for a long time, there's always some really good nuggets of information in there. And I've said this many times. I think Ian is probably one of the best out there in YouTube land in terms of guitar lessons. I know that he's certainly helped me quite a bit when I got back into playing guitar after taking quite a few years off. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Ian back to the show. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Before we get going here, I just want to say hello to a few of the folks that have tuned in. Brian S., my buddy, how are you? Headstock Cameras with us. There's Sandra, Bent Tom, Rick Hefner. Welcome, everybody. Just going down the list. Alexander Rocker, good evening. Dwight Bailey, Thomas Santiago, Merrill J. There's my buddy Bruce. How are you, man? Okay, cool. And it just jumped on me. Alex Radford. Hey, man. Nice to see you. Okay, cool. So, Music Therapy Laz. So as we go along here, if you folks would not mind, if you have questions as we go along, if you wouldn't mind tagging me at Guitar Hack, and I'll be able to see your questions right away. Very cool. So, the Road Warrior.
Yeah. The Road Warrior's here.
Road Warrior, Ian. So we were talking a little bit offline. So Ian's been RVing around the continental United States, and
yes,
and he's had a few adventures and good ones, bad ones.
Yeah, good ones, and bad ones. Yeah, and I was saying we kind of had to rush home really quickly to Florida. People notice I'm back at the studio, but it's just temporary. We're gonna hit the roads again because I had to pick up this bad boy, right? That was shipped to me from PRS, and I had to sign for it, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to go home now. We have to go home. So we got to get there. But it's been crazy. I mean, we can talk adventures, but our RV adventure was pretty much like Chevy Chase in Vacation. We actually watched that one night, and I was laughing so hard because it's been that crazy between tire blowouts and trucks dying and trailers falling off, but it's been a nonstop adventure. It's been great.
So have you even had a chance to play that thing, or like?
No, this is like my I played it for like 10 minutes when I got it, and I was like, oh nice. So I'm breaking it in right now. I'm going to do a review on it in my channel. It's actually pretty sick. It's got the piezo pickup, the pizza pickup, and it was so funny because I knew it came in two colors, and I was like, when they said they were sending it, I was like, oh, please be the blue. Please be the blue. And because I didn't know.
Right.
And then the case, it said the case had a masking tape on it. It said P. What was it? Hold on, it's right here. Hold on 1 second. What does it say? It says it says PB on it. And I'm looking. I'm like, that means something blue, like pearlized blue. That has to be what it means. I opened it up, and there it was. And I was like, yes. And so that was very nice. I'm very excited about this. So let's go.
Cool. That's cool, man. Well, that's crazy. Them putting a piezo on an SE. That is very impressive.
Yeah, well, I've used it, and somebody asked me here. Let me see if I can plug it. It really sounds like an acoustic guitar. Like it just Actually, let me see if I can get this right. Because I have effects on. Hold on. It really had a great Nope, not like that. It sounds like an acoustic guitar.
That's convincing. Yes.
Yeah, I was Peacock Blue. There we go, Peacock Blue with Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you, buddy? Sorry, I see the comments coming up here.
Yeah, welcome, Kevin. Welcome everybody to the chat.
Yeah,
awesome.
So it's great. So it's cool to be back here. I'm excited. I haven't gone live. I've not gone live at all. I was on the road. So when you emailed me, I was like, let's do this. I'm very excited. I love being on your channel and talking. So
I appreciate that, man. It's great to have you back. So so today's topic, I thought, let's pick Ian's brain. So, and it's funny because I asked earlier in another chat what folks wanted to ask you about, and the boredom with the pentatonic kind of came up, right?
Okay.
So now, so the topic of the show is basically how to make the pentatonic a little more interesting, and maybe being able to blend or know when to blend sort of a major with the minor pentatonic, and when is the right time to do it, and how would you approach maybe seeing those scales on the fretboard as sort of a hybrid or as two separate entities?
Well, that question is going to take 3 hours right there.
Well, we got time.
Yeah, we got time. All right, so we start. Is this it? We're going to start now. All right, so
Let's go, Wallace. You got?
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll go.
All right, so okay, so how do I explain this? Everyone who watches the channel knows that like rule number 1 of a pentatonic is it always sounds good, right. And well, at least that's my rule, right? And so when I'm looking at like all my favorite guitar solos, like they are, well, okay, so the Ian Stich mindset is that the pentatonic scale is the thread. It is the glue, the emulsifier that holds everything together. Like even if you're soloing with chord tones, when I'm studying my favorite guitar solos, there's pentatonic pathways everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay, and so, and it's really amazing how some guitar players can use a pentatonic. Like for instance, like Frank Zappa. When you listen to a Frank Zappa solo, some of them are really super colorful. And in an interview, he was like, "I don't get what people like my solos. They're just pentatonics, but it's the way he plays them." Right. And one of my favorite guitar players, Trey Anastasio from Fish. I mean, he's some of the solos that blew my mind when I was 16 years old. When I go learn them, you go, "What? This is just a pentatonic?" And so I realized there that the 5 forms of the pentatonic, or like the never lost pentatonic, or whatever forms you see, right, that's just a vehicle for you to deliver your intent. And so, there are some, I mean, like you take Jimmy Page, I
knew you were going to get the Page because he's
the best. I mean, like, and every one of his solos is 90% pentatonic based, and you're going like, you can hear Jimmy Page's playing, but they're all different guitar solos. They're amazing. So, I think that there's a difference, and this is like one of those statements that I feel rude saying, and I say this to my students, which is you're not allowed to get bored of something unless you've really mastered it, and so when people say they're bored of something, it's like, well, maybe you've hit your limits on it, but you got to keep on pushing through, because those 5 notes in the pentatonic are the most versatile notes. Now, there is, of course, there's other scales, but there's so many ways to make it sound different. Play in a box that you never play in. If you always take your solos in, if it's in an E and you always take it on the 12th fret, like, I don't know how my guitar just got so loud, but pick a shape that you'd never play in, like form 3, and see if you can write and get your feelings out in, this is all minor stuff, right? And see if you can try and play your solo and get some feeling out in a different box. That's where I would start. We have so much to talk about, but I'll stop talking for a second. I don't know if there's any questions or if you want to say anything.
Well, I wanted to say thank you so much, Laz, for the super chat. Appreciate that very much. Laz is saying, love Ian and his channel, StichMethod, great guest hack.
Oh, hey, thank you. That's so nice. That's so nice. Cool. Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, well, the beauty of the pentatonic is it avoids all the pitfalls, right? Which is why it works on so many things, right?
Yeah,
notes that could rub sometimes the wrong way.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, trust me. I remember studying. I mean, oh my God, I remember studying in A blues, and learning, the A minor pentatonic, and then when you compare that to an A minor scale, you have this like, and I was like, what? I'm like, why isn't this note this note in a minor blues. Like, why? And it took me forever to realize, because this is a minor scale, and we don't use minor scales really in blueses. We use pentatonics, and like, you know, yeah, it takes out the pitfall notes, you know, just like you said. But you know, okay, so you take David Gilmour, right? Who is, you know, I'll stop talking for a second. I'll backtrack. You asked me, how do I see it, or how do I see things? My perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about application first, and then we'll get to how you see it. So I know I bombarded you with like
it's okay.
3 hours. So let's look at application first, and get into the rest of that.
All right. So application of just like pentatonics.
Well, or when is it okay to go from like everybody pretty much, and it starts with minor pentatonics. That's what they start with, right?
Yeah.
And then the masters, you know, and I know you and I have, you know, we're both big fans of Jimmy Page.
Yeah, of course.
And he's a guy that just knows when to add that major note that takes it to the next level. Okay,
so let's talk about that. Okay, so my God, this help. If we have 4 hours, that'd be much better. So all right. So here's a rule of thumb. If you have any sort of minor progression, okay, and what I mean by that is just, let's just say you have a progression of chords that sounds good. It's in a key. You don't even need to know if it is, but it sounds good, and it starts on a minor chord. The minor pentatonic will always work, right? That's right. And so there's that scenario. Now, if you have a major, something that starts on a major chord, and this is what's very interesting, you know, you have a progression, it starts on an A major.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a key, it sounds good, it doesn't sound like it's too hard to solo over. The major pentatonic is going to work, and the minor pentatonic is going to work. And this is where you want to dive into. The major pentatonic, and the way I think of things, just for anyone who's following, I always think of my chords and then my scales. I mentioned this in my blues class number 1 or whatever it is, my video, where it's like a cupcake. You have your cupcake and your frosting, and you really want to be able to choose which ones you have on which. And when you have a major cupcake, you can put major stuff on top of it, major pentatonics, and it's going to sound happy. It's going to sound good. It's like having a strawberry cupcake and putting strawberry frosting on it. It's going to make everything pop. But if you have a major cupcake, you can always put a minor frosting on top of it, all right? And that's always going to give it a rock sound. That's always, like, whenever you put a minor pentatonic on some sort of major progression, it's always going to sound rocky blues. I have a guitar. I should show you. Okay. So is this cool so far?
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to thank Tom for a super chat. Much appreciated. He's asking, how would you rank the importance of phrasing versus note choice in single line and solo playing?
Phrasing. I would like phrasing. Phrasing in terms of what I think of phrasing is I think of the rhythm of things. I think that I remember when I say phrasing is so much more important than note choice. I really do. But note choice is important when you're trying to really bond with the music. But I remember at some age where I was saying to myself, what kind of lead guitar player do I want to be? And I remember saying, like, I don't want to be an Eric Johnson. I don't want to be an Yngwie Malmsteen. I don't want to be, that's not in me. There's not one iota. But I want to be a guy who has really tasty, like, phrases and phrasings, because it's the zig when you want to zag and the zag when you want to zig that really captures people's ear. And, you know, if you're listening to, you know, like, and lots of notes and stuff, it's just, to me, it's very, you can get lost. But when you have really good phrasing and you can take a breath and you can try and say something with your motion, I think it's 10 times more important. Did that answer the question? Was that what he was looking for?
You know what? I totally agree with you. I cannot get into somebody like that. After about a minute, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. I'd much rather listen to a Jimmy Page lead.
Yeah.
An Yngwie lead. Like,
oh God,
no comparison.
There's no comparison. And that's, I mean, like Jimmy Page, I mean, I was just, what solo was I humming in my head? Oh, Dazed and Confused. I was humming the solo Dazed and Confused in my head, and I was saying to myself, like, how many different, like, phrasing ideas are in there, and how cool it is. And like you can hear him like, here's my thought, here's my breath, here's another thought, here's my breath, and you're like, oh, and it's just, you know, I wish I was a fly on the wall watching him record that, because that must have been a blast for, not for him. I always think about the engineers, by the way. I know we're off topic, but I always think about like the engineers, like having their headphones on, listening, okay, and record. And then Jimmy Page takes a solo and the engineer's like,
holy shit.
You hear that? Yeah, like, because they don't know what's coming. You know, to me, I'm like, that's amazing. So phrasing. Anyway, so I hope, did I answer the question? I can derail a conversation.
And Tom agrees 100% with that answer. So there you go.
Good. All right. So we're okay, you know, pentatonic phrase, pentatonics. Okay. So if I have like, I always do the same chord progression all the time, but let's see. Let's say I have I don't know, pick a key.
Well, you said A, so let's take
okay. All right, let's see a second. Okay, so if I have like an A, let's see, A. Okay, so I'm in a loop. Can you hear that?
Right, yeah, I can hear it.
So I can pick an A major pentatonic. Let's just, right here, right? A major pentatonic, the G shape, the form 1, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
This right here, this is the strawberry cup. The strawberry cupcake is my chord progression, and my frosting is a strawberry frosting. A major for A major, right?
Right.
And you know, turn on a little distortion. You know, that's like your MSG right there. You know, and then I need a little more volume. Where is it? Oh, hold on 1 second. My chord got stuck under my volume pedal. That's okay. So now you're going to hear, let me know if you can hear this if the microphone cracks up. You'll hear that everything sounds good. Right? I mean, like, it's just perfect. And
right.
Now, it's very important that you start making, and I talk about this on my channel, you start making the association however you need to make the association. I do, me, it's taste buds. It's just taste buds. I talk in food analogies, like it's the sound of Southern rock. It's the sound of happiness, major on major, you know?
Right.
With Southern rock stuff really is quite happy when you think about it. Allman Brothers, stuff like that. And so now it's like, well, a different taste bud is the A minor pentatonic. This is going to sound more grittier. It's going to sound harsher. Now, I don't have a food analogy for this one, but the idea is you will hear that on top of the same chord progression, because it's a major chord progression, the major pentatonic works, but now I can put minor on top of it, and it's like, okay, you're going to get a different taste. Like,
yeah.
Right? Okay, so I can play forever.
Totally different flavor, yeah.
Okay. Now it's like, well, how do you combine them? Right? How like when? You know?
When.
And so there are, you know, Jimmy Page, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Page, I might have to bite my tongue on this. I think, let me see. Yeah, well, no, hold on, 1 second. No, yeah, Jimmy Page usually starts off, I might get reversed, like, he usually starts off things on major and then ends with a minor, like, slap in the face. Like, and I'm not going to say this sounds like Jimmy Page, but you're going to hear, like, you know, like,
yeah.
Here's a nice frosted cupcake. What are you doing touching that? You know, and so, but the question is how. All right, and so is this making sense? Am I going too fast? How are the comments? Is this okay?
Well, you know what? I mean, you playing those two things right away kind of illustrates, you know, like, so for those that are bored with pentatonic, just the fact that just play them, but play them in both major and minor.
Yeah,
added a whole other world of possibilities, really, right?
Right there you do. And that's what it comes down to is, like, you know, now you have two scale options, you have two ways of saying something, and it gets very creative. And, you know, there's so many ways to blend them. And one of I always talk about, if you want to go back and forth, if you have the option to go between major and minor, you know, The idea is you can do the Jimmy Page, which is you can blatantly hear the major and then end with the minor, but you can always, you have to practice it. You can try blending them where it's like, whoa, 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 where did that, how did you get in there? And the note that I find the most, like the easiest way to do it is off the 5. And I want to explain this. Is this cool?
Yeah.
I'm just talking. All right. So you have the intervals of the minor pentatonic: 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4, 5. So there's the 5 right there. Mm-hmm. And you can see the A minor pentatonic has it. And when you look at an A major pentatonic, it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5. They both have 5s.
Right.
So you could play a phrase. And use it as a bridge. And so
you just unlocked something big for me just now.
Cool.
I honestly, like, so now I know to focus on the 5.
On 5s. And
when I want to switch.
Yeah, I'll give you examples. So you have like.
Oh, yeah. It's seamless.
And so, and you can do that with the 5s. You can do that with the roots as well, as long as you realize, actually, I speak in these crazy analogies. I was going to say like a rivet, it's a rivet. And yesterday we were cleaning out the RV and I stepped on a ladder and a rivet broke and the whole ladder almost fell and I almost went with it. And I have to replace a rivet. So rivets are on my mind. This RV is a great adventure. Okay. So,
these analogies are going to keep coming in.
I'm going to be like, let me tell you about the leaking propane tank analogy. Yeah, you can always use pivots between same notes. And it gets more, but I'll stop talking here and see if you or anyone else has questions. We can keep on diving in, but I tend to get all hyper, especially when having some of the hyper juice, So
yeah. Well, the pivot thing. So that kind of alludes to the other part of it, which is if you see them as separate entities, you can see the commonality of the notes to pivot on.
Yes, absolutely you can. If you see them as separate, well, if you see, what I like to say is if you see them as separate entities, but also you see the similarities, and so yes, to see them, and that's why I say rivets. I have my major, I have my minor. And so when you look at, it's very simple. I mean, I hope that people are taking notes or playing their guitar, but when you look at the intervals of a major pentatonic and a minor pentatonic, major 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, minor 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7. So they both have 1s and 5s.
Right.
So you can use the root note as a pivot. And you can use your 5s as a pivot. And there's one more trick, but here is a root note pivot where you're blending them. And let's see if we can do it. Nope, hold on. There we go. And so the best analogy I can give you all the time, and I have a video about major, just like what a major pentatonic and what a minor pentatonic is. And to me, major pentatonics are the sound of Duane Allman. Not like solely, but like what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Minor pentatonics is the sound of Clapton. So it depends on which guitar player you want to make an appearance. And so, and it comes down to, these are your machines that you have, and they offer a certain offering to you and the audience, and you need to be thinking about what it's going to sound like. And like I said, I think about taste buds. And so when I'm playing and I want something happy, I'm going to put the major pentatonic in. And if I want to slap in the face with that mean blues riff, and I'm stealing that from Jimmy Page completely.
All right. So just to summarize where we're at this point so far, if you've got a major sounding progression, you can do major and then throw minor on top. Whereas if you've got a minor progression, you're tied to minor.
Yes. And yes, I'll say, never say never, but I'll say 80% there. And for I said it, it's like 80% locked in. I have 2 videos. Well, I have a video about channeling Led Zeppelin for your own riffs. And it's really intriguing because what Jimmy Page does is he writes a minor pentatonic based riff, right? Mm-hmm. And then he puts the major thirds as a harmony on top of that. And then those major thirds allow you to solo with a major pentatonic on top of it. It's an amazing, I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment. But if you guys watch this video, if you watch the video, it's on my channel, like channeling. If you just go to StichMethod and click on videos and then, you know, click newest and you'll scroll down, you'll see it says channeling Led Zeppelin for your own riffs. And it talks about how, you know, in Black Dog, you know, you have this but he comes in with an A major pentatonic. No. There it is. That thing, that's an A major pentatonic, and the reason he does is, you know, that part that, but with the harmonies, like the what was it? Yeah, he's like puts the major third on top of it, where he puts that little thing in there.
Yeah,
you'll see it, like, you know. So there's a lot of wiggle room if you can make these kind of scientific experiments and say, okay, well, to make a long story short, what you said is right. If you have a major chord progression, major and minor pentatonics will blend well. If you have a minor, it's minor pentatonic, unless you have the savvy of Jimmy Page, where he really cracked the code there. He said minor pentatonic, I'll put the major thirds in, and now I can put a major pentatonic.
That opens up that possibility. Yeah. Speaking of Zeppelin riffs, I don't know if I put out an original tune last week. Check it out on the channel. It's called "Lay Me Down."
Nice. I'll definitely check it out.
And what it reminded me is the feedback I've gotten is it sounds a lot like Zeppelin. So
sweet. I love to do that. I love to check it out.
I'd appreciate your take on that. Okay, so how about this then? So because I correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been told that when you're soloing, if you start on a major and you go to a minor, that's fine. What you never want to do is start with a minor and then go to the major, because that always sounds odd. What's your take on that?
I don't know. I'm gonna try right now. so minor first to major.
Live experimentation here, folks.
Yeah, it's like minor to major is no good. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. That sound bad?
It sounds. I think I know what he was talking about. I think it always sounds better when you go major to minor.
Okay, let's try it out. Okay, so major to minor sounds better in that context.
Major, yeah. Let me in the chat. What do you folks think?
Yeah, I can see that, but you know, it really depends on. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything that goes from minor to major. The only thing that's going to go from minor to major really is the blues. That's a whole other thing that people get wrong, and we can talk about that. But I have this whole, you know, like you have these theories that you don't want to say out loud because people are going to be like, "What are you talking about?" But you know they're true. I'll talk about it once on my channel. But no, I like the idea of major first, minor. And that's Jimmy Page. That's the happiness with the backslap.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the Jimmy Page thing, because I think the guy who told, and he was a professional musician that told me this, this guy Nick, he's amazing. Because he was saying, like, you know, when you're doing the major, it's almost like you're kind of toying with the listener.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and then but when you hit the minor, it's like a, you know, it's like a right hook. You can't come back from that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, and
you're
absolutely right. You know, again, like I hate plugging videos on my channel because it's like that's not what I'm here for. But what this all boils down to really is the Mixo-Dorian blues scale. Like that's the whole shebang. It's a minor pentatonic, a major pentatonic, the blues scale, and the Dorian scale all slap on top of each other. And it's really 4 scales in one, and each one has a specific sound. And it's when you want to call upon it that you use it. You know, I see a lot of like in the blues, you know, the mixing of major and minor, it's a lot harder actually. It's not as easy as people think it is. You know, like you know, and so, but when it comes to that, I think anyone who's seen my channel, putting the major third just in the minor pentatonic is one of the best sounds in the world. And you can do that really for any jam where, you know, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that right there is kind of like a little like, that's a little like, oh, okay, yeah, the major could work. Go,
Yeah.
That's good, you know. So
yeah, and because you're using it as a passing tone, you're not sitting on it, right?
Right, and you want to listen to it. You know, there are definitely several ways. Sorry, I have a mosquito bite here. There are definitely several ways that you could test the water like that as well. Absolutely. Go ahead. I can sit and derail things.
No, it's fine. So, okay, so let's talk about the blues for a minute, because I mean, when like I do a lot of blues improv stuff on my channel, and a lot of, you know, I mean, I'll tell you how I approach it, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. So I basically I rely entirely on my ear for everything, because the way it is for me, because I've been playing for so long, I kind of, when I play a pentatonic scale, like, I know what the notes sound like before I hit it, because it's just from years and years.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean, and I know what the interval is going to. I know that you know what the intervals are going to be and that sort of thing. And that's you know, when you describe it as, you know, flat third, what, like, that doesn't, that for me is kind of gibberish, right?
No, I'm with you. Know, I spent years playing it without knowing what was. I know, I'm with you.
I mean, I'm a fossil, right? So you know, it's kind of, so I like to experiment, and I like to the one thing I like to do a lot is, you're mentioning the Dorian, right?
Yeah.
So what I like to do, and I try to play the diatonic scales in a blues.
Okay.
I'll play all the notes, right? And I not only which ones I can sit on and which ones are passing notes, just from playing forever, right? So, right. Well, what I do, and this is, I'm going off topic here a little bit.
No, I love it. I love this stuff.
But what I do is, like, I'll play, and then it's and then I'll do like I'll you know, basically straight A minor. Let's say we're talking about A. And I'll play A minor, and then all the notes kind of around that, and then I'll start doing Dorian and playing Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll kind of bounce back and forth between the two, and then you can almost hear where the major might work, and then you kind of slide that in as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is like, it also depends on like what chord you're on in the blues. We're all trained for that 4 chord. You know, it's the major lift. You know, what I talk about, you know, and so when you're playing the blues, and then second you get to, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you know, like, major it up, you know. And so it might be also your taste buds telling you when, you know. But do you find yourself playing, like, mixing major minor a lot in the 1, or do you feel like that 4 chord's coming, and that?
Yeah, I hear it in the 4.
Yeah, as most people do, and that's where, like, the BB box comes from. You know, that whole, like, major feeling of, again, the BB box is another monster we can talk about. But yes, you know, but you play by feel, and you know your pathway so much that you can just play by feel, which is really, like, it's what everybody just wants. They don't want to think anymore, you know. Yeah. And so you just want to feel it and have fun. So you're really playing in the now, and you're on top of your game. That's great.
That's, you know, I mean, again, I'm getting off topic, but what I enjoy about soloing and playing these backing tracks, and then I put a lot of them up on the channel, is I like that, just composing, instantaneously composing, and hearing the note before you hit it, like that. Yeah. And then some crazy accident will happen, and it's like, oh, you know, I was going to go left, but I'll go right because this sounds good.
Yes.
Oh, this phrase is good. I'll play it a couple times, and then I'll go to something else, because it's all stream of conscious playing, right?
It is. That, to me, that's what you know, guitar is about. It's about or improvising or playing for other people. Actually, no, you're not. When you're playing in front of a crowd, the philosophy is you should be trying to entertain yourself. Yeah. And you should be like, oh, this is so much fun, because if you're having fun, the audience is having fun. But if you're trying to play to be like, okay, I want this to sound good for you, and you're like, it's not going to be fun. And so, like, the fact that you can sit and have fun while you're playing, that's what everybody wants, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you feel inspired, and I tell you, like, 99% of it is just listening. listening and reacting.
What do you listen to the most live? I know we haven't played live in a long time, but like when you're playing live, what do you listen to the most?
You know what? It's funny. People ask me that. When you're playing live, who do you play to? I play to the drummer.
Drummer. I play
to the drummer. It's kind of I mean, I don't mean it to be insulting, but the only time I'll notice the bass player is if he hits a bum note.
but that's a good thing, like you gotta tell. It's so funny you say that, because when I teach for a living, like I YouTube is like something I do as well as teach. But whenever I see a student after I've seen them, I taught them for a week and I see them next lesson, I say, okay, show me some stuff, and I tell them, like, I have to apologize. I have radar for bad things, so I'm not going to compliment you on the good things, because I'm a teacher and I'm like, I need to back up and see what's good. But if you only notice the bad stuff that a bass player is doing, then you should tell the bass player that's good, because you're doing a good job. So
the other thing too that's inherent too for those that might get a little bit bored with the pentatonics is, listen to, like, I call it the Jimi Hendrix now, that whole double stop hammer on thing.
Oh yeah.
There's so many of them in there that you can do.
Oh, so many. Well, okay, so I'm so happy you brought this up. I do have a recent video about like ripping on a rock blues, and I talk about it's only maybe a month old, the video, and I talk about how pentatonic double stops, just throw them in. But one thing I did talk about is pentatonic sliding sixths. So the difference between a double stop and a sliding sixth is double stops are next to each other and you play them at the same time. But the sliding sixths are separate and you got to play them separate.
Yeah.
So that stuff too, really? That stuff gives a whole other, like, wait, it sounds like you played a chord, but you're like, no, still playing pentatonic. Sorry, you're like, just.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I wasn't really referring to that. I was referring to more like, I don't want to pick up my guitar.
Pick up your guitar.
Like stuff like, where like,
oh man, this.
And here.
Oh, that's, oh yeah. Just where you get the chord behind it.
Exactly. So what's cool about stuff like that is you're not having to learn new notes. The notes are already there.
They're there.
You know what I mean? And it gives a whole another dimension, if you will, to the existing pentatonics that you already know.
But yes, you're absolutely right. Like I said, like pentatonics are so malleable. You can get so much juice out of them without anyone ever knowing they're pentatonics. I mean, it's true. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so, okay, I've derailed this enough. So let's get back to the sort of back to basics kind of thing. So you started mentioning the blues. So, as a rule of thumb, right? First of all, the blues, you can play both major or minor.
Yes, that's the whole thing.
No. Or do you start, or is it like wrote out for one chord is minor, four chord is major, third chord is minor?
Well, no, I mean, you could, okay, so on the 4 chord, you can play the major pentatonic of the 4, or you can play the major pentatonic of the 1. I mean, it's so open. I mean, the blues is such an open format. That's why you can have like, a whole stage of blues lead guitar players, and they're all playing different things on top of a 1, 4, and 5, and you're like, what's happening, right? But I had the statement, and you want me to come out and say it? I'll come out and say it on your channel. It's a Stich Method. All right, so I have you and I have a mutual friend, and I asked them, hey, because I was pondering over this. I said, can you email me examples of what people consider to be a major blues song? And they said yes, and they emailed me, and I listened, and I said, you realize these aren't major blues songs? These are just blues songs that still have minor pentatonics. They're just really throwing in the minor third, the minor to major third a lot. They're putting in that major third, that like, and they're playing the Mixodorian thing, but they're always bringing in the major third and minor third. And I'm gonna get such crap for this. Such crap. So there's this theory cooking around in my head that there really is no such thing as a major blues, like a major blues. We call it a major blues, but really it's just incorporating the major third and the sixth and the two, which is the major pentatonic, but not solely. Like you throw it in to your dish as you're cooking it, but the main scale is the minor pentatonic. And I say, and I told our mutual friend that when you play major pentatonics on top of blues progression, that is the sound of Southern rock. Southern rock is major blues. That's what that is. You know, like can I give you the example?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so if I have like, let's take a Southern rock 1, 4, and 5, right? Like you got like. Okay, and then if you have like a major pentatonic. Right? Be like, does that sound like the blues to you?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not, it's not what you would consider blues.
Right. Yeah. And then if you throw a minor pentatonic. Now you have that blues sound, that blues rock sound.
Right.
And I know I'm getting my high horse, and I should never have opened my mouth. And then now if you take that minor pentatonic and you throw in the major third, now you get what people consider to be a major blues. Like, oh, he's playing a major blues. It's like, well, calm down. I'm throwing in that Mixodorian blues scale we talked about, and you're putting in it's like 70% minor pentatonic, 20% major pentatonic,
right?
And there's 10% left, and the other is just like passing tones and chord tones. I'll stop talking.
Right. So maybe to say it in a different way, a 1, 4, 5 does not a blues make.
Right. No, it's right? You're absolutely right. But anything that is 1, 4, 5 is a thank you blues. It's a tip of the hat. And that's where Southern rock comes from. It's just putting major pentatonics on top of blues progressions.
Right. And if you want to make it really interesting, start major and then end on a minor.
End on a minor, yeah. And then give them the Jimmy Page. There
you go. Give them Jimmy Page right hook at the end of that.
Right, I can do it. That's exactly it. I feel like I'm derailing the conversation as well. Are people learning?
No, I'm the one who's getting kind of on that whole tangent. But anyway,
are people learning from this? Like in the comments, are they good, or like, oh my god, this makes no sense? Because I mean, at the same time, we're having this conversation. We are trying to shed light on the idea, and so I hope this is working for people.
Louie, Wild Thing is a 1, 4, 5. There's a gazillion wild.
Oh. Every song is a 1, 4, and 5. I mean, not every song, but yeah. I mean, it's so common. But one thing I do want to mention, and again, if I'm going too fast, I think that right before we got on, we said hi to each other, and you asked me how I think about these things, and I think that I'm not saying that the way I think them is the end all be all, but the way I think of this to me is so super comfortable, which is when I'm playing pentatonics, I know in my heart of hearts that it always sounds good. And it's going to be up to me to use my phrasing and my directional intent and my knowledge of that scale to say something. But when there are chords that are changing underneath it, the way I think about it is I will use the pentatonic to get close to a chord tone. And if the chord tone does not exist in my pentatonic, I'm gonna make it with my fingers look like it's part of a scale, but I have jumped to a chord tone, celebrated that chord for a moment, and then jumped back into the pentatonic. And that's how I really think about it. I really travel with the pentatonic because as you mentioned, we know it so well.
Yeah.
And come on. I mean, people think that the pentatonic is like a crux of guitar players. Hell no. No, because it's a scale that existed way before the pentatonics. It just happened to be comfortable for us, but there's so many melodies before guitar music that are pentatonic in nature. It's just that the pentatonic always worked and it's comfortable for us. And so the idea is it's easy for us to know these 5 notes and what they do, but again, for me, it's this layer of the scale, and then I can kind of see these chord tones popping through. I know where my chords are, and I can use my pentatonic to get close to that chord tone and then like jump to it. You're not going to see, when you're watching it, you're not going to see this hand go, oh wait, here's a chord tone. You're just going to see and be like, wow, I don't know what the hell was going on there. But
yeah.
So that's what I think about it.
Well, it's interesting. All my favorite guitar players, and I think you're kind of alluding to this, the foundation of what they do is basically pentatonics.
Yeah, all our favorite guitar players. Yes.
Yeah, like you mentioned Jimmy Page, right? All the and because I don't know, because there's soul there.
Yes. Remind me you said that. I want you to finish, but yes.
There's soul there, right? So, and I don't know. They all. I mean, if I'm totally derailing this, but I mean, the late '60s guys, they were all basically the blues guy. You get the Eric Claptons, the Jimmy Pages, and all that. They all kind of came from that. And then the hard rock of the '70s was sort of the same thing, right? And those, and then in the '80s and '90s, some guy, and then it's sort of let harmonic minors came in and these other things that are kind of foreign to me, right?
Right.
But it's because I kind of grew up with that, and that's sort of like the type of player that I am. Like everything that I do starts with a pentatonic.
Right. And as it should, because it's going to sound good. You want to invite people. You want to be like, what is it, Hansel and Gretel, the witch? Be like, here, come in, just have some candy. And like the listener, and then you switch to the major, the minor, and you're like, what were you thinking? So yeah, you want to invite people in with with a nice pentatonic groove. You were saying how like these guys have soul, and this is what's really, really cool when you think about it. I'm not putting down. Okay, so there's a risk of being a YouTube guitar teacher, which is people listen to every word you say, right? And it's like, well, you shouldn't really do that, especially when I say I don't like something. It doesn't mean like you shouldn't like it, but I'm going to come out right now. I don't like what we will call prowess players, right? Where they're just throwing in notes to be like, hey, look at how many notes I can throw into this line. I will never like it. It's not my style. And there's too many options. They are switching scales and 3 notes per string up and down this guitar neck and going crazy. But when you think about Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton and Johnny Winter and all these people, right? And even Billy Gibbons, these are pentatonic players. They're using the same exact scale, the same exact scales, all 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
And each one sounds more magnificent than the next, and that's why I love the pentatonic, because it lets you discover who you are. You're not trying to go like because that's not to me. It's like, hey, all of you guys got the same 5 notes. Let's hear all of you play. And it's amazing to hear the difference between the two and how comfortable and how intimate these people get with the scale. And so it goes back to what I said earlier. You're not allowed to get bored of something on guitar unless you've mastered it. And guess what? None of us have mastered it.
No. Using the food analogy, right? For me, when I'm hearing a lot of notes, it's like you're shoving food down your throat. You're not even tasting it.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I'd rather sit down with a nice steak and savor every bite, which is the taste of playing, if you will.
I'm with you. I might have mentioned this on your channel before, and again, I'm not crapping on people. Just I personally have a friend who went to an Eric Johnson concert and walked out after the 3rd song and was like, I can't take it. Like the same thing over and over again. I talked to him like a week later. He's like, we were eating dinner. It was like a dinner show. He came out and he said like I couldn't even concentrate. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Like,
but,
I appreciate the technical ability, because I'll never be able to do that in 100 years.
Right. No, the technical ability is amazing, and there's time put in. It's amazing.
Yeah, but like you said, in terms of okay, it's music, guitar player aside, as just a listener, yeah.
No, exactly. I mean, if I saw them in person, I'd be like, dude, like, you are sick. You're a sick guitar player.
Yeah.
I don't listen to you a lot, no offense, but like, my God, like, just the hours put in is like a testimony to how strong of a practicer they are.
Yeah, so, totally.
Go ahead.
Rick Hefner, Guitar Hack taught me the pentatonic and the reason for it. Oh, no worries, Rick. Yeah, I used to do guitar lessons for folks.
Nice.
So, I used to do free lessons for people that, if they reached out, it's like, yeah, I'll show you something,
That's great.
If you think the hack can show you something, I'll try.
That's great. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, I used to do guitar lessons back. Oh man, when I was in my 20s, I used to have some. I used to have high school kids come in.
Nice.
And, it was funny. It was a typical thing. Hey, you want to learn how to play Nirvana? This is back in the 90s, right?
Oh, sure. I know.
Show me how to play Nirvana. Okay.
Yeah. You're like, okay, here's a
power.
power.
Do you want to learn how to play guitar? Do you want to learn how to play Nirvana?
Oh yeah. But it's so funny because I mean I haven't taken on a new student in quite a while, but like it's so funny being a guitar teacher. I'm stubborn, I guess, in the way that I teach, because to me I know how it all works. It makes sense here, all of it, right? And so somebody comes in, they say, "What do you want to learn?" They're like, "I want to learn James Taylor or Nirvana." I'm like, "Forget that. You're going to learn this." And I say to them, like, you'll understand that stuff eventually, but like, do you want to mimic or do you want to learn? Like, and it's okay, but it's really funny because I just say no.
Well, it's that old saying, right? I said I can, if you're hungry, he said I can give you a fish or I can teach you how to fish, and then you won't be hungry ever again. It's that whole thing, right?
That's exactly right. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, folks, if you've got questions in the chat, please pop them in there. We've only seen a couple. We've got the honor of Ian here and Fountain of Knowledge. So take a drink from Fountain of Knowledge.
I know I'm blasting. I feel bad, but like, did I answer all the questions we had? I mean, like, how I think about it. I think go ahead.
That was the one thing we haven't talked about yet is how you see them on the fretboard. Do you see them as separate entities, or do you see them kind of overlapping each other?
Well, it's really funny because like they're so okay. That's a great question. All right, and so for everyone, and I'm not. I don't know where everyone is as a guitar player right now, but I'm just prefacing that what I'm going to throw at you is how I see it, and it's heavy. It is heavy stuff, right? Just let you know.
All right.
First of all, there's no real one way to see it, and it's the moment you're in, right? And it's what you want. So I'll start off from how I see it, from the easiest ideas to the most complex ideas. Okay, if that makes sense. So if I'm soloing like in like a southern rock type thing, I'm gonna see my pentatonics as major boxes and minor boxes. And because the music to me is very linear, like it's just one note at a time. And it's very just like one note at a time.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets more complex, I start to see them stacked on top of each other, but not in the way that you think. Let's say I have an A minor here, and when I need to see the A major, now I know there's an A major form 2 pentatonic right here. I know it. I can see them overlapping, and if I need to think of them in that sense, that's rare, because I'll tell you this, it's kind of like an action movie in my head. All right, because I know, and all of you watching, a major chord, if you can see the major chord, you have 3/5 of your major pentatonic right there, right? If I see an A major chord, this is the 1 5 1 3 5 1. of this form too. So when I'm soloing in one pentatonic, and I need to switch over to major, instead of me switching like, okay, like the scales take up the same track to me. So I can layer the ideas by now seeing a chord someplace and still seeing my scale. So now I'll see that major chord. And as soon as I come in on the major chord tones, now I know where my pentatonic is rather quickly. And so when I'm locked into one scale, I'm seeing that one scale. If I need to change scales, I'm going to find the chord that goes with it. It helps me come in right away on the juiciest notes, right? Because, you know, you want to come in on chord tones. You really want to just like, you know, chord tones to me it's the end all be all, really.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, if I'm here, let's say I'm here in A minor, and I want to throw in, and it's on top of an A major chord, and I want to throw in the A major, I'm not going to look for my A major pentatonic up here. I'm going to go right into an A major chord. And so I like to pick one scale as my, okay, this is my majority scale, and then find the chord that goes on top of it to help bring in other scales. I hope that makes sense to people.
What a good practice routine is, kind of along those lines, is something that I do is like I'll play, you know, and I just do this with bar chords. Like I'll play like a, you know, just for example, a G major bar chord, right?
Right.
Fret, right? And then I'll play the major scale around that chord, and I'll play all the notes. And then I'll switch to another chord, let's say a D chord with the root on the fifth.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And I'll play like say D minor, and then I'll play the minor, what the minor scale is at that point.
Good.
And when you're doing that, that just kind of, it sort of, now you're linking the chords with the scales, and so when the chord changes, you know where to go, right? So you're hitting that chord, but you also know everything that's around it.
It's so funny. I call that yes, I agree with you. And I call that the Secret Service training, because the Secret Service is trained to protect the president whenever in any sort of danger. Like at a moment's notice, like the click of a trigger, they just like snap into gear. And it's really good to have like, okay, this is my minor chord, this is my minor scale, this is my major chord, this is my major scale. So at any moment in time, you can switch them in and out and you're playing and have it be seamless. And that's a great way to play.
Yeah, that's you know, but it doesn't always necessarily, like when you're, but here's the other part of that. When you're playing over progression, it doesn't always necessarily sound good when you're jumping every time.
No, you're right.
You want to stay with the you know, the key of the song, you know.
Yes.
And then when the chord changes, then you want to use it, you know, you want to color it a little bit, because now I don't want to get into modes and all that.
No. We already did a modes thing. We should do a mode part 2. There was some there.
Yeah.
But that goes down to a matter of taste. You know, I have so many people, you know, okay, so this isn't a promotion. Actually, no, it's not a promotion because you can't sign up for it. But you know, I have a Patreon account, right? And one of the tiers is called the Stich script. And what it is people record videos, 4 videos a month, and they send them to me, and I watch them, and to them practicing and playing stuff. Right. And then I give them feedback about what to practice or what to improve. And my biggest number one response is, hey, you got it down physically, but now you got to listen and judge when to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to judge when to do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of like piggybacking off of what
you got it. It's got to stay musical. Okay, we got a couple of questions here. Willy Nilly is asking, any recommendations how to treat finger joints when they ache? I guess. When they ache.
You know, I don't know. I had this thumb gave me such hell for like a year. It just this joint right here. I wanted to like almost rip it off my hand. It felt so good as if I was prying it off. It went away after a while, but I right now don't have any joint pain, so I don't know. I don't know. I wish I do teach several people who are learning guitar to battle arthritis, but I know for a fact it just comes down to a leave. The drug, yeah. That's all I know.
Mitch Heyman's got a question. What does Stich think about implementing triads and arpeggios while playing? You kind of answer that indirectly, but
yeah. So what was this guy? Mitch?
Mitch, yeah.
Okay. So I have a video, Mitch, on my channel. And if Kevin is watching, he'll link it. I don't know where it is. It's about practicing your arpeggios, triads, and chord tones. And I don't know why. I'm just going to get my soapbox here. I really do loathe. That's a strong word for hate, right? Is there any other word?
Dislike.
No. Dislike is too light. Loathe, like flames, the word triad. I think it's the worst word in all of music. And I explain it in that video. I am all about, I'll use the term triads. I'm all about triads. I'm all about arpeggios. I'm all about chord tones. That's, to me, what it's all about. So incorporating pentatonics and scales and your chord tones are important. But the term triads, to me, is such a ancient term in music when really it boils down to like tones, notes of the chord you are currently on. And people study the word triads all the time as if they're magic, but no, it's just here. I'm playing an A chord. So somebody's going to say, oh, play the A triad. And it's like, no. Play any notes of an A chord in your solo right now. It's going to sound great. Like, don't. Anyway, so there's a video there I have, and I think I'm playing my red Strat. It's got like, I don't know, maybe 50, 60,000 views or something. That one I'm talking about. But yes, I'm all about, even if you're playing pentatonics, I'm all about putting in your chord tones. As a matter of fact, if you watch, I mean, again, I don't like to promote, but like the stuff there, if you watch my Blues Primer playlist, it slowly goes into, here's a pentatonic. Okay, guess what? You're now playing chord tones. Ha-ha. And so I'm all about it. Yeah,
the triad thing, and I mean, it's more, for me anyway, the way I look at it is sort of an exercise to reinforce where those tones lie.
Yeah, I understand.
Right.
To me, it's like it's part of the chord.
Yeah, I know, I get that. But what I think, and again, this goes back to, if you speaking about pentatonics, if you played them a million times, you always know within each shape what notes work and what don't work, as in terms of where to end your phrases, right?
True.
And again, me being a Neanderthal, I don't look at it, oh, I ended that on the third, that's why it worked, or oh, that was the fifth. It's wherever my ear takes me, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I sit and I analyze it, it's like, oh, well, that's the third of the chord, or the root, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And one thing is for sure, it's always nice to mix them up. In other words, you don't always want to end on the root.
No, that's exactly it. Yeah, no, mix them up, and it's always directional. Like, where do I want to go? And okay, I want to go this way. Oh, look, there's a chord tone. Boom. And you're right. Unfortunately, and fortunately, I've been teaching so much and playing so much that, and I'm being serious. I'm not trying to sound like, but like, I know exactly what interval it is, but I don't care. Like I'm going and boom, and I'm like, oh, that was great. But like, it's like I'm trying to feel it there. That's why I don't like to think about terms of triads, like 1 3 5, 1 3 5. It's like, shut up. Shut up. It's a chord tone. Think about direction. Find the closest one to where your finger is and play it and see how it sounds. It's going to sound great.
Yeah. We got a question here from Bent Tom. Does Ian think learning to play in one area is a good idea? Had a teacher that made a solo over changes but stay in a 4-fret range. It really helps with seeing scales. Yes.
Oh, yes. My latest video that came out yesterday is all about that. Yes. Stay still. And what that does is it forces you to think about music and your guitar playing on so many different levels. Like it's not cheating to be like, okay, well, I want to play an A minor chord here, and then my C chord here, and then my D chord here, my F here. It's like, okay, play your A minor here, your C chord here, your D here, and your F here. Think about bringing everything to you. Absolutely. All my students, honestly, I say, stay here and don't you move. Bring everything to you. I mean, it's such a great exercise. Whoever that teacher was amazing. Who was that teacher? Was it me? Just kidding. But no, but that's great advice. Great advice.
Yeah, and it goes back to that. And then the other thing, the next phase after that would be to know, be able to switch from scale to scale and staying within.
Absolutely.
That's that, which goes back to that exercise, the Secret Service thing. Hit a chord, play all the notes around it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Again, in my Cage Primer playlist, you're alluding to videos, I think number 7 and 8 in there, which is how to find any pentatonic scale at any moment in time. It's about seeing the chord. So I'm with you.
Yeah. And I was going to mention, because this is a while back now, you talked about sixth and playing sixth, and you have a video on that.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, the sliding sixth video.
The sliding sixth video, the way you explain it, with sixth sounds so you've heard it a million times, right? In on songs and whatever, but the way you explained it was just, I remember that really made an impression on me, that video.
Well, I'm so glad you like that. And again, that goes to show you that ties in with my whole like stop thinking about the word triads, because the term sliding sixth is like, what are you talking about? But when you see that video and you go, oh, it's like, yeah, that's it. It's so simple. Like, I mean, like, you're going to chuckle here, but like, look at me. I am obviously a very lazy dude, right? And so, so the idea is the easier you can think about it, the easier it can be, and take all the nonsensical words and stuff out and just see it for what it is. It makes things so much easier. So I'm glad you like that sliding sixth video. I made it to cut the BS out, but also it's
you
like
definitely, yeah, you definitely cut the BS out of it. You made it, I mean, easy enough for me to understand. So
yeah, no, that's fun. No. It's for everyone. That's great. That's great.
All right. Is anybody? So we're a little past the hour. Let me know if you've got any further questions, and we'll pass those on. In the meantime, if you're not familiar with Ian's channel, I have the link to his channel below. There is
you know what?
reams and reams of videos. How many videos are you up to now, Ian?
No idea. I swear to you, I have no idea. I'll tell you right now. Here, let me grab my phone.
Right now?
Yeah, I can go on
While you're looking that up, he's got on every topic, and he's got series, The Never Lost, which is probably the one you're most known for. Knowing the pentatonics all the way up the fretboard. I mean, there's just tons and tons and tons of stuff.
There is. I'm glad it's so funny, because I'm glad you're saying there's tons and tons and tons of stuff, because to me, I'm like, oh, I'm not making it enough. I'm not. Oh wait, videos. Oh, where is it? I'm not making enough videos, but I can't. I don't know how many videos I thought it would tell me on my channel thing, but
it doesn't tell you.
It does, I think, on the desktop, but not on the mobile.
Yeah.
So
well, there's a lot. There's a lot. So yeah, if you're not subbed to Ian, highly recommend checking out Ian's channel. Just tons of awesome information. And I mentioned this to you, but the last time you were on, it's like, I did not play guitar for 12 years. And then when I came back to it, it's like, okay, who's on YouTube that can show me stuff?
Well, that makes me, honestly, that makes me so happy. That makes me incredibly happy. And I want to say two things really quickly for anyone who's watching. Anything that we talked about, like anything that you and I talked about that you want me to expand on, just email me at StichMethod, but it's 1 T, just like it is on the red box here. Am I pointing to it? Is that it right there?
Yeah.
StichMethod.
I had this banner and I totally forgot to put it up. There it is.
Good job. Okay, no, but
where's my producer?
You can email me at StichMethod@gmail.com and be like, hey, can you make a video going further into this? Because I mean, like, I'll make, if you have, my motto is, if you have a question, everyone has the question. So it's not like, it's true. Hey, can you explain? Sure. I started StichMethod. This is my soapbox. I started StichMethod because before StichMethod, was a very frustrated guitar player, really frustrated. And then I had that moment of divine inspiration, whatever you want to call it. And I said, that's it. Honestly, I don't like stress. And so I said, if I can make a YouTube channel and take the stress out of people's learning, then that's the goal. So that's what it's been for. So I'm glad that it's working for you.
You know, I always, I mean, I teach for a profession too, and I always said there's two kinds of teachers, right? There's the ones that want to impress you with what they know, and then there's the ones that actually want you to know.
Right.
And you're the latter type for sure.
Well, thank you.
Kevin Elson saying, subscribe to StichMethod. I played guitar for 47 years before I discovered Ian's channel. In the last 4 years, my playing has become supercharged because of what I learned from Ian. There you go.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. I know Kevin quite well. And thank you very much, Kevin. And it's good to hear from you. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great recommendation.
This is such a crazy. Oh, I'll tell you another stupid. This is a stupid self-serving story. And again, like if you want to go, let me know. But
no, I'm good. I'm worried about you. You just got back from your.
I know, and I have to edit tomorrow's YouTube video. But whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay. So in this RV road trip that I was just on, we stopped in at my wife's brother's place, and we socially distanced. We stayed outside and everything. We said hi, and we left. And he had a business meeting the next day, and he was saying how this is so funny. He was in this business meeting, like a Zoom phone call with like 5 or 6 people, and he was saying how his sister and husband just showed up, and they were in the RV, and her husband has a YouTube channel teaching guitar, and one of the people was like, "What's his name?" And he was like, StichMethod, and he was like, "Oh, are you kidding?" And I thought it was really funny. And so he texted me, he's like, "You just got me so much street cred in this Zoom meeting." And I was like, "Yes." So that was really, really cool. That was really funny to me.
Hey, small world, man. Small world.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Are there any other questions before?
I was just gonna say, open the floor to any more questions. If for me to see the question, you please tag me at Guitar Hack. And if there's any last minute questions coming in the meantime, I wanted to mention also below, if you folks want to help support the Guitar Hack channel, I've got t-shirts. Sorry?
No, I said no, please support you. Do it.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've got t-shirts, I've got mugs, I've got hoodies now that it's getting colder outside. The link for the Guitar Hack store is below. There's also a PayPal down there. If you would like to contribute directly, that'd be awesome. Also, I've got a Facebook page, Guitar Hack Facebook page, link below. I got a Guitar Hack group. That's very cool. People are throwing stuff in there all the time. So there's lots of nerdy guitar stuff in there. You know, if I find cool stuff, I'll put it in there too. And also I'm on Instagram. All of those links are below. And any support would be much appreciated. So
absolutely support. It's funny. I was thinking like we've all, and in a good way. I mean, like I think it's amazing that we can all provide and be provided for via YouTube and social media. But it reminds me of, you remember like growing up, we still hear it to this day, but like support your local PBS station. That's what I feel like when I'm on my channel saying that, because like I'm like, that's what it reminds me of. But anyway, but it's necessary, and it's wonderful that people support. So support, and especially, well, yeah, I'll stop talking. But yes, it's very, very, very good. I think you should. And I was going to say one more thing, but I forgot the heck I was going to say. Go figure.
Well, there's a question for you.
Please.
Any 2 or 3 string speed economy pentatonic exercises you can recommend?
Wait a second. Yeah, but
that's from Joe Strobe.
I'm trying to think. Did I make? Okay, so let me. I'll show you one quick thing. You just reminded me. I need to make a video on this. I thought maybe I made a video on it, but like, I'll show you one thing. Just one quick thing, and this is a Jimmy Page thing. Okay, this is the Jimmy Page speed thing, and really quickly, like when you listen to Jimmy Page, he's got these lightning like notes. Like here's an A minor pentatonic. I'm going to take this note here and this note here, and you're going to hear him like do these rapid. Like, but if you watch what he's doing, he actually, and again, this is your perspective on pentatonic, ring finger in this note, and then, and middle finger in this note, and he doesn't move his middle finger, and it's, and this is the sound of Jimmy Page, like, and you think he's going, but really he's, and even you can do the same thing here, like, and this is, and so I learned that from him. But that's the best I can show right now. But I wanted to make a video about that as well.
Well,
but,
as soon as you started playing it, it's like I know I've heard that in his playing. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Willy nilly.
Yeah.
Just super chat at $4.99, much appreciated.
Fantastic.
Throw in a question if you have a question, willy nilly.
Yeah, please.
Thunder Falcon has an interesting question. Can Ian give some insight to different chord inversions?
Okay. All right, so we have another half hour. Let's do this. So here's the deal. All right, so chord inversions. I have to preface this. The mind of Ian Stich is a very crystal clear, no BS type of guitar thought process. You following so far, Guitar Hack? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
The term chord inversions is a non-guitar term. Now, let me finish. It can apply guitar, but what a chord inversion is, of course, is if you have like a C chord, it's a C, E, and G. Take the G, put it in ordinary of G, C, E. That's a chord inversion. It's like putting the key. It's like putting the chords of the notes of a chord into a Yahtzee cup, shaking them, and throwing them on the table. And whatever order they land in is still that chord. Whether it was C, E, and G, G, C, E, E, G, C, doesn't matter. But what a chord inversion means is the lowest note. Okay, the lowest note. But on guitar, it's not. It is so much more simpler. Okay, there's no such thing as chord inversions on guitar. We're going to take my favorite chord shape, the C-shaped bar chord. I love this chord shape. Everybody should practice this. Okay, watch my Caged Primer playlist. Okay, so if you look here, this is the root note. If I strum the chord from here, okay, but now if I pick my ring finger up and I just strum from this note here, that's a chord inversion. Okay, I just changed the bass note. If I pick this finger up and play here, that's a chord inversion. It's just which note you want to strum from on guitar. And so when I have a G-shaped chord, I can strum from here, I can strum from here, I can strum from here. All the chord inversions are built into your Caged chord shapes. Done. It's just which one do you want to strum from. First inversion is when the major third's in the bottom, and second inversion is when the fifth is in the bottom. But right? Who cares about that crap? And so the idea is you use chord inversions to play when you want a chord that doesn't sound like this. And so you can play this little piece instead of this. All right. And so the idea is chord inversions are just your Caged chords, but not all of them. Those were all different chord inversions.
I've never heard it explained like that.
Was that easy or hard?
It was actually pretty easy. I was like, okay, so it's this and it's that and it's the other thing, you know.
Okay, so tell you what, I think my next video should be called the BS of chord inversions, right?
There you go. So we're giving you all these ideas.
No, I'm serious. I mean, understand from my perspective. I try in every video to bring something to a guitar student, and the idea is, if there's a question out there that I haven't answered yet, let me just make a video for the masses. But like, doesn't that make sense?
That makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Who asked the question? And I want them to answer. Did that make sense? They're there.
Falcon asked the question.
Okay.
Still in here. Let me know if that.
Yeah.
Let us know if that question.
I'm asking you. No, get.
I'm asking you.
So I mean, that's my answer. I think that chord inversions they're definitely important to piano, because in piano everything's linear, and so like you can stack all these different things. But in guitar, it's built right in. It's done.
Okay, he says yes. Awesome.
Oh, good. That's awesome, Thunder Falcon. That makes me so happy. And I think maybe I will make a video about that. And a Thunder Falcon, I have to remember that. But a Guitar Hack, if you can write that name down, because I'll mention them in my YouTube video. Be like, hey, I had, a live feed with Guitar Hack and this guy Thunder Falcon.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Okay. I'll title it Thunder Falcon's Guide to Chord Inversions on Guitar. People are gonna be like, "What is that?" That'd be great.
There you go. All right, I don't want to keep you much longer. Is there anything that you wanted to mention in closing? Stuff coming up?
I'm toying with the idea. Oh, you know what? You'll be my test group. Here's my test group. I mean, you and I have talked 3 or 4 times. And the more we do, the more we learn about each other. But one thing you gotta understand about me, I'm not gonna get too into this, but like I really have a hard time with making money with what I do. I love it so much, it's hard for me to charge money for it. I understand it's a business. I understand you gotta support your family. I understand all that stuff, right? And so like I sell charts for like $1.49 and they sell quite well, and that helps out. And I have a master class, which I try to keep the prices low because I don't want people paying an absorbent amount of money. So I'm toying with the idea that, as you probably know, I sell these charts. Like, you know, like some charts are $1.49 and they're visual guides to my YouTube lessons. But I'm toying with this idea of doing an absolutely free 90-minute like caged chord masterclass, caged chord system masterclass on YouTube, but having the supplemental like 15, 20 page packet, which you don't have to get, but you can, like, as you can buy it to follow along. And in that packet, I'll have extra bonus contents with QR codes and other things that I don't present on the video. But do you think offering a real, and this is everyone here, a real free caged chord masterclass where you don't have to pay for it, but if you want to support the channel and you want to follow along, you can buy the pamphlet and download it and have it with you. Kind of like buying the Peloton bike, and it's free, but you have to buy the courses. Does that make sense? Like, that's something I'm toying with so that it's not too expensive. People have access to it. I loathe when people overpay for guitar information, especially if the guitar information sucks. Not my channel, but you know, like I don't want people to overpay for it. So that's what do you think, Guitar Hack, and everyone watching? I'm toying with that idea.
I think that's a pretty good idea. I mean, you know, because it's like you're offering the course and they're like, okay, this course is really good. And the course kind of sells the packet, so to speak, the package.
Yeah. And like if you, it does. Like, and again, like, don't get me wrong, I'll say, hey, there's some extra content in the packet. There's some words of wisdom. Here's the email to, you know, ask me questions, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So let's see what the chat is saying. Anthony Russell says that would be awesome.
Okay, cool.
Thunder Falcon says whatever Ian charges, it's goddamn well worth it.
Oh, Thunder Falcon.
Sold.
Thunder Falcon's my new best friend. That's
there you go. Betty Man is sold.
So okay, cool.
Joe Strobe is totally down for it.
All right. You know,
Carter likes it. Cushman, New York City. There you
know, that's good, because when all is said and done, I know this sounds stupid. Now we're in the COVID era, so you can't really hug someone. But before COVID, when I ran into someone at a Grateful Dead show or a music store, you know, I get a hug from them. You know, thank you so much. You know, and that's, to me, that's payment, right? Like that's like, oh, I had a strong connection with another human being, and I feel like I said, having people overpay for crap. I mean, there are guitar courses out there that are in the hundreds. And I don't mean to sound rude when I say this, but they're in the hundreds, and then you're still watching YouTube guitar lessons. It's like, well, what'd you pay for? You know, yeah. So anyway. So that's. I'm glad that people think it's a good idea. I'm going to try and film it while I'm home. You know, after I get my new tires put on my rig and fix the fender that from the blowout I had. I'm going to tell everyone a quick story before we go. Is that okay?
Yeah,
a quick RV story.
Go for it.
All right, guys, I'll tell you a very quick RV story, and then we'll get out of here. But this is true. So as you know, we went RVing, and we're going to be going again. We had to come back home because PRS sent me this. It's an SE, and I'm going to be doing a review on it, and I had to sign for it, so we had to come back home. But I'll tell you this quick story. In December, we bought a 2013 used Dodge Ram 3500 4x4 long bed truck, 23 feet long. This thing is huge, right? And we're used it to pull our trailer, and we set off in August and just hit the road, and we were in Yellowstone in early September, and we dropped the trailer at a campsite, and we're driving through these dirt roads, and all of a sudden the truck just dies, and we had to wait until this dude found us and was like, "Can I help you guys?" And I'm like, "I need a tow truck." And to make a long story short, it was either waiting 4 to 7 weeks and paying $7,000 for a new transmission, or buying a new truck. So 2.5 weeks into my RV trip, I purchased now, which is right outside my house, a brand new Dodge Ram 3500 sitting there. And so my truck died and I had to buy a new truck. That's one story. Anyway, so is it worth it? Absolutely. Go do it. That's what I say. It's an adventure. And I'm making a YouTube channel out of all the channels, by the way, the journey. So
are you going to do it? Oh, you're going to do like an RV thing. Cool.
Yeah. We documented everything. It was, you get to see this guy sweating, changing a tire, and cursing and yelling. It's really fun.
Oh man, that's good. You documented it anyway.
Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much. I actually have to edit my video.
Okay, well, hang on for a second. I want to say thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You guys absolutely rock. We will see you a week from today, 8 o'clock. I don't know who my guest is yet. I'm still working on that, but that's why I love doing this. Traveling for ideas, But anyways, I want to thank Ian for coming on again. Every time you're on, Ian, it's always an awesome show, man. Much appreciate you coming on.
Oh, no, it's always my pleasure. I have so much fun with you. It's great.
I appreciate that, man. All right, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And we'll catch you soon.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.